stay calm, stay calm. Keep my wits and stay alive. Wish I had a 9 to 5. There's a stranger in us all. Stay calm.
Go all the way up. I want to do it. Stop hiding. You hiding forever. Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky. 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 Go all the way up. I want to do it. Stop hiding. You hiding forever. Ricky. Go all the way up. I want to do it. Stop hiding. You hiding forever. Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky. 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 Go all the way up. I want to do it. Stop hiding. You hiding forever.
Listen, gang, I say that we dig in.
They are slowly closing in. Stay calm, stay calm. Find an inner strength within. Stay calm, stay calm. If I've learned one thing, it's that don't respond to Craigslist ads. I can see their second skin. Stay calm, stay calm.
Go all the way up. I want to do it. Stop hiding. You hiding forever. Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky. 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 Go all the way up. I want to do it. Stop hiding. You hiding forever. Ricky.
Morning sun will set me free. All right, all right. I spent 5 nights at Freddy's.
Get Dory!
Hey,
Shut!
hey,
Hey, where did our new friend go?
Don't worry, he'll be back again tomorrow.
So, does he not go to the bathroom, or does he just run in all night?
I had peas into a cup. I've seen him do it with my own eye. We were both just staring at each other. It was extremely awkward.
There's a shadow on the wall. Stay calm, stay calm.
What's up?
There's a figure in the hall. Stay calm.
Go all the
stay
way up.
calm.
I want to do it. Stop
Keep your wits
hiding.
and stay
You hiding
alive.
forever.
Wish I
Ricky,
had a 9 to
when I
5.
catch you, Ricky.
There's a
Ricky, when I
stranger
catch
in
you,
us
Ricky.
all. Stay
Ricky, when I
calm,
catch you, Ricky.
stay calm.
Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky. Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky. Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky. Go all the way up. I want to do it. Stop hiding. You hiding forever. Ricky.
I'm fine. I can keep away the creeps safely from my swivel seat. Something's crawling through the vent. That's fine.
Get Dory! Shut! Get Dory!
There's a ghost in the machine. Stay calm, stay calm. They are watching through the screen. Stay calm, stay calm. They just may drive me crazy. Hey,
Go all the way up. I want to do it. Stop hiding. You hiding forever. Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky. 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 Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky.
Are you
Go all the way
ready for
up.
some Fazbear
I want to do it.
pizza?
Stop hiding. You hiding forever. Ricky.
I don't know, but I don't think I like him.
He's so cute, I can feel his heart racing.
About time we had a brand new plaything.
Another yellow belly bucket like a champion.
Listen, gang, I say that we dig in.
they are slowly closing in. Stay calm, stay calm. Find an inner strength within. Stay calm, stay calm. If I've learned one thing, it's that don't respond to Craigslist ads. I can see their second skin. Stay calm, stay calm.
Go all the way up. I want to do it. Stop hiding. You hide it forever. Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky. 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 Go all the way up. I wanna do it. Stop hiding. You hide it forever. Ricky.
In the end, there's only me. Alright, alright. Sun set me free. Alright. I spent 5 nights at Freddy's. Haze.
Hey, where did our friend go?
Don't worry, he'll be back again tomorrow.
So, does he not go to the bathroom, or does he just hold it in all night?
I pees into a cup. I've seen him do it with my own eye. We were both just staring at each other. It was extremely awkward.
Go all the way up. I wanna do it. Stop hiding. You hide it forever. Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky. 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 Go all the way up. I wanna do it. Stop hiding. You hide it forever. Ricky.
Stay calm. Every hair is on its end. That's fine. I'm fine. Feeling my adrenaline. That's fine. I'm fine. I can keep away the creeps.
All right.
Save me from my
Let me get my life
suicides.
together.
Something's crawling through the
He
vents.
hurt.
That's fine.
I give you guys a whole new shape. I know. I'm trying to figure this out. But this way y'all can see my boom. I can see that my microphone is in the air. I might put a sticker on here. I don't know yet. The sticker in me wants something, right? The child in me wants a sticker right here so y'all can see it. Let me go find an anime sticker. I hope I didn't throw them away. I don't think I did. I know I just said a lot. Alright, 20. Open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. That was so random, right? Alright, so now we about to go through like 85,000 stickers that I have. And well these are giblets they could go in there. And these are empty. Okay. I know what I did. I know what I did. Okay. High vibes. Yeah, we're gonna put a sticker on my mic. But it gotta be a good anime sticker. One that I will enjoy to have. You know what I'm saying? We're going one, if not two. This will be a microphone that I won't give away. Boom. Here's one. Oh god. So it's a new today's stream is gonna be a sponsor stream. So we will be playing a new game called Stuffed. What it is a first person shooter, of course, where you are a teddy bear defending the owner and from the evil nightmares that we have. That is what we will be playing today. I think it's gonna be adorable. I think it's gonna be cute. I think I'm gonna have hella fun because we all know I like shooting stuff. Right? Yeah, Sakuna had to go on the mic. Out of the stickers I had, it's Sakuna 1. It's Sakuna fucking 1, okay? So, I'm gonna put my stickers up. I haven't played the game at all. I haven't played it yet. I said I was gonna wait until today to play it live for you guys, and I meant that. So I'm excited to give you guys the first gameplay. And also shout out to the company for shortlisting me on Keymailer for me to be able to give you guys this content. As you can see, I'm still mad because my wig still don't look green, but you can see the green essence, but it still looks black. Let's just get right into it. Excuse me. So, I'm going to, if they send me a fucking email of any kind in regards to it, because I'm supposed to have a surprise for you guys, but I can't remember 100%. I did add 2 new sounds. Oh, I gotta change my waveformer. Oh, that ain't no problem. That ain't no problem. That ain't no problem. Let's. Can you, bitch? Can you guys hear me while I'm right here? Okay, that's better because it catches everything that I said. All right. Okay. We got it. Maybe we don't. We're gonna figure it out. If I do, hear me out, because we're gonna do some stuff. If I do this right, hold on, what's this one? Okay, that ain't do much. Where is the button I was looking for? What's this? Just one color, broski. I don't like that one. Like how I had it. All right, bet. Okay. I'm looking for something to help me do this right, baby. Right here. This is exactly what I was looking for. But now it's so tiny. Y'all don't pay me no mind, okay? I'm gonna transform this. I'm gonna rotate it counterclockwise. Yes, sir. Because I just be so creative off the top of the dome. So this is what it's gonna look like behind my heart. Ain't this so cute? I'm sorry. I be having too much fun. With this stuff. Alright. So we're gonna get this together. We're gonna get it popping. Like I said, I haven't played this yet, so we're gonna be looking at all of this together. And we're gonna see how this goes. I'm excited. Already, this is adorable. This is so fucking cute. I'm trying so hard to contain myself right now. I'm gonna snooze this for a minute. We make it out in the beginning. So I'm excited. Now somebody messaging me on Instagram talking about something. Can you help me get a crown or two? I can change the color of the fur. Hold on. So I can change the color of the fur. So the fur has designs, which is adorable. Oh, 8. You can change their leopard. So cute. I'm okay. Yo, this is so adorable. Look at the skeleton. Hey, yo. Shut up and take my money. Yeah, it's outfits, bro. It's outfits. So we see that they have like different designs, and then we have outfits. So we just, and they could change the colors of it. So I might be playing this shit all day. Okay, hear me out. Which outfit we buying? I can't go in here basic. So I need an outfit. I need an outfit. I don't know which one I want to be. Super Teddy has a cape. He has a fucking cape. I don't know which one to pick. Yo, this is so adorable. We haven't even gotten in the game yet. Alright, let's look at the weapon customizations. Okay, so this is the weapon that we have. A Planky McBang is the name of the first one. Then we have the Cosmic Fans, the Jelly Boom Boom, the Shot Caller, the Skater Boy, the Cola Cannon, the old one. Yo, this is great. Also, if anybody would like to, feel free to clip anything that you would like in this game. Like, feel free to do so. This is not just a do that. If anything goes on, if it's something that you see that you want to remember later, or if it's something that you want me to create something out of, please feel free to clip it. If you do the manual clip, if you're in my Discord, you'll be able to post it in the community clips. If not, I'll be able to see it when I look at them. The Rock'em Pop'em. Yes. Yes. Boomcorn. This is a fucking C4. The Penalty. Yo, these guns are so cute and creative. The Rocket Propelled Glitter. Big Beefy. I win. Then we have the Rainmaker. Now that we looked at all of that, let's get ready to look at this tutorial. I'll do the tutorial for my sake because I'm gonna just go in here and just start shooting. I won't know what the fuck I'm shooting. We will face waves of nightmares. Jesus Christ. I'm not going to change none of my settings, like, at all. Okay. As you progress, waves become hard and may introduce you to new types of nightmares. Who did? Okay. Have a stick. This is so great. The weapons can be found on the ground. You could bot them using your point. Oh. After buying a weapon, you could go to where you bought it to purchase more ammo. Okay, nice. What is one thing I want to hide? I want to hide a couple alerts because I do want to post this on YouTube. Oh, that's the one thing right there. I do want to post this on YouTube. So my alerts, you can use the sound alerts, but screen alerts and emotes are not going to pop up. More ammo. Whenever you pick up a new weapon, replace the one you're currently holding. So I can only hold 2. Okay. grenade. You get more points every nightmare you defeat. You can earn more points from melee hits and headshots. They should have never told me that. I'm about to start punching everything. If a nightmare hits you, it will take some of your health. This will regenerate on its own over time. Just don't let it run completely. Your health is displayed here on the bottom of the HUD. Okay. Okay. So this is definitely giving me Call of Duty zombie vibes. But it's so cute. Across a teleporter. I could teleport between the rooms. Oh, that is so fun. As well as defending yourself, you would need to protect Ellie's door. Certain nightmares will try to attack it. You'll need to stop them before the doors open it out. The door's health is displayed on the left of the HUD. Okay. What the? What the fuck? Good. Good. Okay. And now let's learn about power-ups. Bro, I do not know. Every time you defeat a nightmare, there's a chance it'll drop a power-up or ultimate ability. Okay. You know, you may come across... Oh, yeah, this is fun. Alright. This ultimate will create a shockwave to defeat an enemy around you. The level up station. Oh. Every time you defeat a nightmare, buy a door or buy a weapon, you'll earn XP that could be spent here. Your XP level is displayed at the top of your HUD. Okay. Give me some speed. I want to see some real speed. The last thing you need to know, after you survive 10 waves, you have completed a night. And then the night will be generated. Okay, you have 30 seconds before you teleported to the new map. Okay. In a new map, you will have a new door to protect, and new rooms to explore. And that's everything. Complete the tutorial. It's like a lot. Oh, this is gonna be fun. This is definitely a great comparison. Super, super great. I'm excited. Bigger turn of sensitivity down just a little bit. Jesus Christ. I can manage with that. Alright, let's get into it. Oh, they came from downstairs. I just got hit in the bite. Level 1. You can hear them like walking up the stuff. It's so cute. Yeah, wondering shit. Hold on. They trying to put Boogie in a corner. That he swung. Why are you doing that? Misses. Yeah. Follow me. Is that a duck? They're ducks. They're ducks. The ducks fly. Oh no. Hey, back up, back up, back up, back up. No, no. Got it. Okay. Gotta open the door. I gotta open the door. Why didn't I open the door downstairs? I don't know. Wait, it's toy robots now? Hold on! Hold on! Something do not sound healthy upstairs. Well, I just learned I blew myself up. Oh, you are breaking this door up! Move! 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 Jesus Christ. No. No. I got it. You hit me with that stick, it's raps, bro. It's rapskis. Alright, now I gotta go. I wonder if this still works as okay. I think he's malfunctioning. I can't. Not that big fucker. This. Oh, I forgot. There's two ways. Wait, why are you fighting the door? Why I got there? Move. Oh. I'm panicking. This is where it goes wrong. This is where it all goes wrong. This is where it all goes wrong. This is where I lose. No. 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 All right. We did good. We did good for the first round. For the first game, we did great. What in the hell? Nah. Wait. Because that is actually wicked. Because that is actually wild, bro. Because what the hell? So if anybody, so let me do the proper food and nannies. So what I got right now? So we're gonna have so for the first round, we got the wave 6. We definitely got to wave 6, which is good. That's it. I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew to shoot stuff. Now, here's a couple of things. If anybody wants to buy the game, click on the link that I just posted. Lynn, if you could be so kind to pin it and then add a message to it, please and thanks. You know how I am. But if anybody would like to purchase the game, this game is available on Xbox and Steam only. On Xbox, I believe it is $12.49, but I will be doing a giveaway just a little bit later. I want to say probably about an hour into the stream, I'm going to do a giveaway for the game. So if you are on Xbox or you have a Steam account, this game is available for you. Those are the consoles that I will be doing this for. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen with this. And I need to make sure. I can't remember if I actually. Thank you, Lynn. But I'm excited. There's just, I wish I could see my freaking answers to this deal. And I did, because let me tell you, I do not remember if I did say wanted to. So yes, so this will be fun. Like I said, this is just a quaint little game to get it going. Lynn, are you about to before I start this next game? When are you gonna get this game? Before I gift it to you. These are things I need to know. But let's see what I get. Do I get more coins now that I did stuff? I do. I got 47 coins. I'm about to buy Fit. Do I want to just go out and buy the thou, or do I just want to change my color? Listen, Lynn, I think you like this game. Alright, there we go. Done. I didn't even see that it was different colors of the guns. Alright. Let me find a DMCA playlist. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back.
Before we met, now every woman I see is a potential threat. And I'm possessive, it isn't nice. You've heard me saying that smoking was my only vice, but now it isn't true. Now everything is new, and all I've learned has overturned. I beg of you.
Get your lives together. Get your lives together. Stop being so dirty. Jesus Christ. Yates. For once. For once. For once. For once. Jordan, welcome in. Jesus Christ. Alright, now that I'm a cute bunny, now that I'm a cute bear, we go again. That's hi. Hi, JT. Oh, this is a different map. Invincible, I'm about to start swinging. Wait, am I crouched? I'm not invincible no more. Why would you do that? Yes, 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 yes. I have all of that GT. Where the hell? There we go. I can't get that yet. I know I can't get that yet. That should be a good grenade. Okay, so the teleporter took me back to where I started. That's exactly why I bought grenades. And shots do matter. I opened a lot of doors just now. I like that it tells you like what's the last two at the top. Why they hit you with a stick? Maybe I shouldn't hit you with a stick. I hit you with a stick. Pull up with the stick. Let it hit. I'm sorry. Yeah, I bought a self-revive. I didn't buy me any more meds. That big nigga. I don't know where he coming from. Oh yeah, I gotta blow up. Oh, 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 oh! I gotta use the thing! I gotta use the thing! Wait! Not these controls. I want the other controls that tell me what to do. Wait, no! No, 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 no. I'm out of stuff. Move, duck. Yes, robot, help me. I got hit. Wait, I had a self-revive. Hold on.
Oh, fuck.
I was cheated. Hold on. Hold on. Where'd my self-revive go? Bro. I got 32 points. Alright, we go again. I get this. Should I get this together? No, the Slenderman OP is in. Not wrong. Not wrong at all. I do like that they give you different floors, like when you restart it, so it's not the same floor. Like every time, it's something different. Well, that was easy. Listen, Ellie about to grow real fast the way these things here. You trying to take her out? Well, she might have to learn not to eat sugar after 6. Let's go forward. I think that the ADS is so cute. I think this is the part that's adorable. But I now got an angle to shoot. Yeah! Oh no, 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 no! Cannonball! It bounced. It did the job. Did the job. Collateral. Jump at me again, fam. Alright, so my bot is so I can do that extra repair on the door. So we got extra health on this jump. And I'm gonna go here and then God damn it. Okay, so that works. Gotta keep 3 in the chamber. Cause me in this one hallway just ain't about to cut it. Let me max up my health. Oh my gosh. Okay, I need to hurry up and... What the fuck? Am I panicking? Here we go. Here we go. I'm beating your ass up today, fam. It's the big one I care about. It's the big one. It's the big one. It's the big one. I'm out of ammo. Ah. Bye, dog. Oh, you jumped a little bit. All right. Give me that. Bitch, do not shoot at me. Open that door so I can get out. And repair her door. Did that. And then I'm gonna let you cook for a little bit. I get that. We're gonna drop this for that. Okay. We up. Is that Leon on the door? Alright. We're gonna get we gonna get past night one. Here's big ass. Where is he coming from? Are you coming from downstairs? No. No. I love how he look at me and then like think like I'm not gonna keep shooting at him. I keep running like goddamn ammo because the shit downstairs. But I gotta teleport in. Nigga. Ammo. This. What is that? Wait, I just got here. Come on. Are y'all playing dead? Cause I'm looking at y'all. Y'all are. Good job. Bruh, what is this? Hey, yo. Alright. You got this, right? Shit, that big nigga. Way. Okay. Yeah, I got something for his ass. The sock puck. The other stuff. The other stuff. The other stuff. Bombs away! Yeah! Yeah! I need an RPG every time! Follow me to the upper room. They followed me to the upper rooms. Open the door! Open the door! Come on, ammo! Ah! What does this do? Oh, it froze him. Venomous! Venomous! Alright, where I find this gun at? Cause I like how I be finding stuff, then I be lost. Alright.
Wait, what is this?
Oh my god! This game just beat me up so bad. It beat me up so bad because I was almost done. Bubble Burrito. Let me tell you something. You look so beautiful yesterday. If y'all did not know, yesterday was Bubble's birthday. She just did not want to tell us, but I synced it on the Insta web to make sure. So today is her birthday. It was actually yesterday, but because I didn't see her yesterday stuff on Instagram, it's today. So make sure y'all tell Bubble Bird happy birthday. Point indeed. Indubitably. It's right, last night didn't know if I told you already. You told me several times last night before I went to bed. Yeah, absolutely. No wrong. That's what big creator is for. Bro. Oof. That's some good libation. That's let me tell you. Yo, welcome. Listen. This is a lot. This is a lot. Yo. Oh my god. Wait, let me see if you can still hear this. That's a new one. So, I'm gonna get ready to go ahead and do this giveaway. For those that are just tuning in, we are playing a new game called Stuffed. It's literally a Toy Story, Five Nights at Freddy, Call of Duty Zombies, mixer-upper. Like, if you put all that together and then shake it up, this is the game that has been produced. It's really a cute. It's really cute, as you can see. And I look like I'm still basic. I'm gonna put it on. Hey, there you go. I was still basic if I lost. So this game is available only for Xbox and Steam. If you would like to purchase it yourself, it is the pinned message. If you would like to purchase it to help me get more games like this, so we can make more content like this. This gameplay will be posted on my YouTube channel as well. So all shout outs, all main big like visual stream alerts will be hidden, but you can still do things in chat. Sound alerts are still available, but this will be uploaded on my YouTube. So when I'm done playing this, I will end the stream so I can have a separate stream, and then I will start a new stream for when we will be playing Apex. So I am going to do a giveaway for this game. I did say an hour in I will be doing a giveaway, but this game is only available for Xbox and Steam. So if you would like the game, we'll have to have one of the two. I will cash have it too. So give me one moment while I set this up. So you will have 2 minutes to join in. Giveaway is going to start now. If you would like to participate, make sure you do exclamations to get in here. No, it's for all Xbox. It's not just for new gen. Ouch. But again, this is really like a cute little game. Like, oh my gosh. Between the wardrobe, like the customizations you could do for the teddy bear and the weapons, I think it's so cute. And now that I have more coins, I'm gonna probably buy. I gotta updo my main gun. You know what I'm saying? Coca-Cola then is a Diet Coke. That's actually hilarious. I didn't get that one. What is this so cute? I'm gonna say, literally, like this is really the fun of it all. And for those that win the game, you do have the possible chance of playing with me today. So you will be on my YouTube channel as well. And so we ball. But yeah, just like I said, when this concept of the stream is over, I will end it. Just still stay in chat, and I'm gonna just post another one. But yeah, it's only for Xbox and Steam and PC, but you have to have it on Steam. Might I say, literally, you could make a Steam account and add me, and I'll send it to you. But I know with Steam, you gotta wait a couple days to be friends. JT, make sure you claim it. I won't have to pick another. Let's go. Alright, let me get this. Let me get this ready. Oh yes. Congratulations! Yes, put them on both. JT, can you do me a favor and DM me your email address, please? That is associated with your Xbox. I don't think I have to stress that enough. I'm gonna say it anyway. So since you're on the way, make sure you please send me your email so I can get your life together. And do it like right now. It'll only hold you unless you allow it. Unless you allow it. That's pretty much my method of everything. And also, congratulations, GT. Alright. We want to get this shit together one more time. I can get it going and get it done. Because I'm going to get these. Can I have two of the same guns? No. I have 500 because I wouldn't be able to do a door. But that would have been the plan. You can see when they starting to break and everything. I think that's funny. Yay, we be clubbing. JT, we'll probably send me your email address right now so I can send it to you. You don't understand. Oh, this duck. This duck gonna have problems. Yeah. Try to jump me, champ. How many is left? 7? Open this door. I'll go exploring. Oh! Alright. Open this door. That's the teleporter. Oh, that door expensive! These are the main doors, that's why. Okay, so let's go downstairs. Can't afford it yet, but now I know it's here. What up, Lex? Whoa. Am I running? This gun don't do a lot of damage, so oh, popcorn out. had a lot. Okay, I need to find an RPG. That's exactly why. Okay. Okay. Hot is right. On my teleporter. Yup. Freaking with gas, man. Oh, too much gas. I told you I was cooking with too much gas. Alright, I hear that bitch again. I get a heart. Whoa, god damn! Oh yeah. Get y'all with these Call of Duty tactics for real. Oh. No! 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 No, 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 no! 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 Four. I fumbled. I opened too many doors. No! 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 Open too many doors. Open too many. That's where I fumbled. That's exactly where I fumbled. I opened that other door because I was trying to get the gun. This should be fine. Alright. Why is there a demon? That's the shadow that I have to the shadow I have to kill. Why did I feel like I was doing this somewhere else? Because I was. This one. And then poof. Oh, Meta. That's one. Alrighty, JT, you sure? Alright. And like, we go 3 and then. Let's not. Thank you. Yeah, we back. Thank you. I don't know why it does that. I'm just gonna look at something. There we go. Not really here to look at it. Not really here to listen to it. Is this the one over? Okay. Do this. I know I went out. I didn't say anything. I'm not talking to you. Do you see you? Okay. We should be back fun and then. Where should we? What is this game about? We're protecting a young girl from her nightmares. So a fake, totally zombies plus Five Nights at Freddy. And pretty much just defeating a wave of monsters trying to break down her door and everything. It's really cute. And I've also been having fun. I've been having fun like hell. So, just trying to get that going. Okay, so it pops up going there, right? But it's popping over here, but then it's not doing it in the other. Okay. Oh, I'm goofy. I need to do the sides, right? Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I'm trying to. One thing wasn't working, and I'm trying to fix it right quick so we can have it. trying to fix it for you guys to actually see it because I didn't realize. I never realized it wasn't up. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix it. Okay, so this should do it. They do have a wardrobe and it's so cute. I would gladly go over it again so y'all can see. You got it? Yeah. Okay. 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 So now this should. I feel like this is a backwards front. No, this is the right side. Okay. There we go. Alright. I realized the messages weren't popping up. And that's what was supposed to pop up. So we got that to work. And everything. So we are good to just raise it right above that bit. Okay. I'm so sorry. I thought this was already done. So now I have it to where your messages pop up at the bottom, which I think is so great because now when I post up on YouTube, we can see what I'm talking about. So, okay, so let's go over the wardrobe. I'm so excited. Now, JC, you also have the option of playing with me today if you want to. If you do not, and this will be fine. I probably want to do like 2 more waves of this, and then we are going to dip up out of here. So this is the wardrobe. So I already bought a skin. I already bought a skin. I'm not sure. He was in the process of moving. So like that stream was his last stream before he moved. So I know he was trying to get all the stuff he needed together to stream. So I mean to move. So I don't think he ever did do it, but I know once he gets settled in that he's gonna be situated. Now here's the skin. So you have like the regular like plain fur, but you can change the colors of the fur. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that one. So we have the plain fur, we have the leopard, which is the one I bought the blue and pink. Then we have panda, skeleton, spotty, stripey, tiger, and they're so cute. And then you have outfits. So then you have, I'm gonna wear this right here on my face. JC, I said now, because later I'm gonna play. But the option is for now, because I'm not playing this all day. Then you have astronaut, pirate, scuba, fairy princess, the witch. So JC, that was the purpose of the giveaway, for the option to play with me now. I'm sorry. I don't think I made myself clear with that, because y'all really be wasting opportunities to play with me when I do stuff like this, and when I give y'all an opportunity, then this happens. Then it's like, oh no, let's do it later, because later never comes, and then you're gonna be mad if I don't get back on this game when you want to play it, because I'm playing something else. Then we have Unicorn and the Dragon Dance. So the Dragon Dance one is cool, but check this out. The Super Teddy got a cape. Super Teddy has a cape, and it's in different colors. Where is Reggie? Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to Under the Bed Warriors. Then we have. I'm just happy that they got a cape. It is. It's so cute. I'm trying to tell y'all, fam. Trying to tell y'all, this game is so adorable, y'all. Like I can't stand it. How cute it is. Like not even the casual brown, but I just, you know me, I didn't spend my money. It was VC already on there. It came with it. It came with it. Actually, give me 1 second. I'm about to do something real quick before I forget. And oh, have I go here? I can't spell. That's what I'm saying. When you ever know me to be a regular at the beginning of the game? Never. Sorry, I'm trying to claim a gift card real quick. If you think I'm about to copy and paste this, you got another thing coming, buddy. Right. Okay. Y'all ready for another giveaway? We're gonna do the same thing. JT, no, you cannot enter again because you already won, so it makes no sense for you to have another one. So we are gonna do another giveaways. So if you would like to, again, this is only available for Xbox, new gen, current gen, old gen, as well as Steam. So if you just would like to participate, do exclamation stuffed. If you would like to participate and you don't have these consoles, you're more than welcome to participate, and you can choose if there's someone in chat that you want to give it away to, or if you would like to give it as a gift yourself, we can do it that way. But I'm super excited. I hate that my stream crashed though. For like 20 seconds. It kills me because I don't know why it does that. Like at all. And it's so weird. Oh, by the way, y'all only got 2 minutes to do so. I meant to add that part in. 2 minutes, and then we're gonna start the next portion. of this, and then like I said, this will be, if you guys did not see the whole gameplay of it from the tutorial beginning, do not worry, this will go onto my YouTube channel. JT, you got 20 seconds to get it together and hop in. I don't want to play without you. Now, if you don't want to play with me today, that is totally fine. Pick another day, but the goal was you can have the opportunity to play with me today in the game. So someone go get lit. Lynn is never far away. Like, I really be trying to tell y'all, Lynn is always here. My mod, you might not see my mods in chat, but they're always around, yo. Lex, congrats, you won! Woo! Make sure you type exclamation claim to claim your lovely prize. Ovid. Let you congratulate her, but you typing the wrong thing. There you go. Thank you so much, my good friend. Alrighty, Lex, here's your crazy question of the day. Do you want this on Xbox? Do you want this on Steam? Or are you gifting this to someone in chat? Like, which one? On Steam? Alright. Here's the thing with that, Lex. I think we have to be friends on Steam for like 3 days before I could gift you anything. If I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken. Let me just sign into my Steam account real quick so I can do the right thing. Just crashing me. Oh, I was saying to add me on Steam. First of all, add me on Steam. Secondly, it's going to take me a couple days because on Steam they have it to where you have to be friends with someone for a couple of days before receiving a gift. I remember that part for sure. So that's one of the things right there. I'm not doing all that. And moving forward. Missed us. 1 second. Make hoodie, thank you. Sent the invites on Steams. All right, I should get it on my phone because I literally do everything on there. Oh, I gotta remember to just change to hide my webcam. So okay, so we're gonna actually delete that because I don't like this. Like this to the top. here, and then this can go right here. I think go right here. Okay, give me 1 moment. And that's the part I didn't figure out myself. JT, aren't we fucking friends on Xbox? See, you're making me curse on a sponsored stream, dude. Huh. I love the game. Yes. Oh, you played this the other day. Now, Gail, hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. I know you're getting pampered today. I know you're getting pampered and self-care and edited today. I would never want to play this game. Yo, I got too excited. I'm sorry. You don't understand. Y'all understand? I fucking love you, dude. Hey, for real. Holy shit, this game is so great. Oh, online is only currently available for PC. Got it. I can get this on my PC. So that's what that is. That's only available on PC. Alright, let's get some more games in. Ain't that goofy? So the similar games, I forgot to tell you guys, Fall Guys, Among Us, Human Fall Flat, Call of Duty Zombies, Left 4 Dead, World War Z, Plants vs. Zombies. You played the other day? Wait, I missed that shit. I'm finna call the cops. I'm finna call the cops. Oh, that was robbed. Once again, he was robbed of some good times. What the? Please. Can we be civilized? Or my mental capacity. Where the fuck y'all at? Oh. What's wrong? I want the other gun. Another gun in here? Yes. Very nice. Very. Hey. It's always the dark, yo. Catch me if you can. Missed a whole half of a clip. GG's next. Bitch. Yeah. Alright, let me go downstairs so I can get ready to go get this gun. Almost said porch monkey. Alright, truth to toss almost won. I'm down here and I'm gonna reload. I looked in the corner and all I saw was stuff. Jesus Christ. You think I'd be telling you guys this? It'd be a surprise for me. He tried to hit me with that plunger. I synced it. I synced it. I hear the ducks. I hear the ducks. And the gnome. There's the gnome. Where's the duck? Don't worry, little fella. Coming in, yeah. Baddies inside? That's where I need to be. I'm sorry. I hear him already. I don't know which way he coming, but I hear him. Where's the door? Oh. Hey, bro. Like, oh. Y'all cheating because y'all ain't never attacked the door. Y'all be acting different when Slenderman come up here. Yeah. Wrong gun. Yeah. Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. Yeah! Look at my friends! Alright, I'm gonna go, do some stuff now. I'm gonna go do some things now. Alright, got that, right? Woo-hoo. Jesus Christ. And yet here you are. Alright. I know I normally do some clickbait stream titles. I promise you, I would be in a piece of not being on the camera if that was the case. Alright? And yeah, y'all out here like, what's she getting stuffed by? God, different. Oh, no. That's right. Different gun. I got grenades. Look at this big bitch. Don't. Nobody puts Boogie in a corner. Keep trying to tell y'all this. Move. Hey. Somebody's about to jump at me and I felt it. Go, 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 go. Blow up. Off the door. Off the door. Get off the door. Shit. I must tread lightly. Oh shit. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Oh, this the gun that does nothing. There it is. Yo. Yo, my life. Also, guys, please please let's make sure we give a congratulations to Mulatto because she is having a baby. Fuck this game, bro. Dog, I got to the 10th. I might not get off this game until I beat night 1. Hear me out. Night 1 don't have to see me. No. So Lex, Kale's chat. We don't know how to act over there. When it comes to Kale's stream, let me tell you something. We are nuts. Okay. Like, we are nuts over there, all right? It's always so. I'm not gonna hold you. I bought Kel some food one day. I was at work. I was on break, and I wanted to make sure he ate. So I bought him a salad. He had it on like his tree stream, by the way, right? So I was like, it's healthy. Make sure he eat. So bought him salad. First of all, apparently this is like an amazing salad. Like losing his mind. Was losing his mind. Now remember, I was on break. So I bought it. I went on my break. Ate. I went back to work. Went on break at like 12. Got off at 5. I was home about 6. Kel was still streaming. So this was about 6:30, 7 o'clock. And I told her, I was like, when he eat the salad, I need somebody to clip him eating it for me. Because he... so the salad... was ASMR with eating the salad, okay? Listen, it's in here it is. It's something about Kel and the turtleneck, bro, that makes us go nuts. Like we go nuts, all right? When the hair up, the arms out, neck choked up by a turtleneck. Go great. We're gonna get this together though. Hey, so welcome. Listen, I know how it feels to get yelled at to eat. Alright. We're gonna get this shit together. We're gonna get it together. I ain't playing. What's the real bear? Oh no, it is. This looks enticing. I have 2 of these. Let me see where this is going. Let me. Don't get me started. Listen. Oh my! All these other rooms. Sit down. Make, bitch. Nah. Yo, let's might clip that, please. When I'm not on Apex, I get an Apex invite. Like I'm lying or some shit about not being on Apex. Make me sick. Come on, get your slow ass up these steps. I see the waddle. Point plank. Yeah, Planky McBang Bang. Gotta get ready to go get another gun. When I say weak ass, you say bitch. Sorry. Here we go. Yes, sir. Level up, level up. Headshot, headshot, headshot. Ah, fuck these dogs, yo. Whenever I have a kid, this is the first game they playing. First game they playing. What we playing as a family? Let that shit. Wow! Wow! Nah, you gotta blow up, big dog. You just built that door. Hee. I ain't gonna tell ya I was trying to slide. I'm gonna tell ya I was just trying to slide. Oh, do the bear get tired? Need to drop that RPG again. What was I just aiming at? The air? Yeah, line up. Come line up to your death. Oh, that's the last one? Alright, let's go. Let's go exploring. Adventure out there! Alright, need that. We get another one of this. That's 2,000. I'm gonna open up another door. This. What's this door? The good stuff! Is this a sniper? Challenge accepted. How much this door? How much? Alright. Okay. So can I teleport or go? Can I just teleport to... Yeah. Yes, sir. Alright, I can't level up nothing, right? Okay. This duck probably just like stands. Oh, you tried it. Oh, I can't afford it. Damn it. Well, then I go back upstairs. Who's to say I didn't open up too many doors once again? You know what I mean? Grenado! You're a special type of gnome. It's trying to kill me. Oh, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. I messed that up. Wait, it ain't. I got put in a corner. What just hit me and how and why? Whoa. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. 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 Yeah, when you see me fighting in the forest with a grizzly bear, help them. I'm sorry. Tell y'all, out the gate. Shut the fuck up. Just like my wingman aim. Let me lock in. Oh, I shouldn't be running through like this. No, I need more ammo. No. Okay. Okay, it's a different gun. Different gun, but that's what I want. Okay. If I ain't got no more grenades, I gotta make sure I clear these other things out. Oh no. No 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 no. No 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 no. I need him out of here. I think I grabbed the wrong gun though. I bought the wrong gun. I bought the wrong gun. He has help. He has help. No, 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 no. I can't even get him off the door. Where's my revive? Every time I buy a revive, is either what am I doing? I needed popcorn, fam. I needed popcorn to beat him up because I would have won that. I would have won that. Nah, you're not backseating. That helps because I don't know what I'm doing still. I need to. I feel like I'm shooting a 99 and it doesn't work. But I lost. Oh, it felt like I died. Okay. Limited sprint. Because now that I know that it's the other thing. Limited sprint. I need popcorn. And I need to now open 18 doors. Where I fumble all the time. I open too many doors. Because Lord. Okay. That's what I thought. I froze them and when so because I'm stupid. Cause I be trying to melee out the gate. Hold on. This is a test run. This is a test run. This is a test run. Nobody say anything. If I lose, I lose. But this is a test run. Bitch fight. Oh my god. Bob and weave. Meet. So no melees. So we not doing no melees. Not even worth it. I'll get the points how I get them. Okay? I get the points how I'm getting them. That was a mulligan level. That was a mulligan. We don't know anything that happened. It never happened. We're gonna move on. I act like this. Guns out, buns out, guns out. Finally, a new floor. What the f— How many hits? But there's two? There's two headshots. Okay. Okay, Squidward. Nah. Out the gate. Infinite sprint. Yeah. I shot you twice. Look at them lining up to their deaths. I wish I aimed like this in Apex, to where I wanted to hit the poles. Laterals. Hey, where's my— wait, wait! I see the grenades now. Why he piecing me up like this? Back up. You didn't see anything. Die! See me fighting in a forest with a grizzly bear. Help the bear! Take him out the gate now. Oh, don't worry. You're not safe. You ain't making it to this door. Yes. I'm saving it when the time is right. We will all know when the time is right. What? Just baby hop over something. Got the last 4 things. Don't do it. Come on, ducky duck. Look at me maxing them on everything. Alright. Remember when I said I shouldn't be opening a lot of doors? We have reasons now. The penalty. Alright, we just did that. How many doors is it open? Alright, let me report the door. That's why I went downstairs. Yeah. Out in my way. Yeah! Yeah! When the time is right! Out of here. Yeah, oh yeah. It's when the ducks jump at me, y'all. Only thing I don't like. Grenade out! Missed a few. Hee. Why look like you walking faster? Alright. Hold on. Whoa! I need the other gun stronger. Throw grenades. Throw grenades. Throw grenades. Throw all of them. All of them. Back up off the. I blow myself up. God. Oh, I'm in danger. I'm not in danger. Nobody puts Bookie in a corner. But you gonna die before I do. Ooh. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. No, no, no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Fuck. Fuck. I worked too hard to get this far. Motherfucker. I worked too hard to get this. Oh, that goddamn popcorn will not blow up. We got beef with the Slenderman every time. Oh, it's 3 guns that work. Obviously the RPG, the comics one. I'm gonna tell you exactly the guns I used. I didn't have the bear. I used the bear on the first Enderman when I needed the help. So we got 2 guns that work. The comic fans. The you know, the shot caller. I believe that's what I had. Yeah, shot caller. Absolutely. And it was the other one. I can't. It was the 2 like in the beginning. But yes, the penalty. Thank you. So definitely gonna work on that. I'm going to beat this. I'm going to beat night 1. Jesus Christ! I'm not at the. Yeah, drink my water. I was trying to do math just now, but I see where the math makes sense. Damn, I should have got the other thing. I'll be alright. What's this one? 1,000. Wait, is Kelly, you still in chat? Because I have a question. This is just the door to go out. I can't afford that door. Huh. It literally just takes me to the room. No. I need Kel. I have a question. Look, you guys. Oh my gosh. Hello, Jack Jack. I'm more around here somewhere. Okay, so that's not right there. Did I not open the door downstairs? I need to keep this controlled, big dog. Alright. Go down here. Open this door. I think we found the gun I want. Because I can't afford it yet. Golly gee willikers. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is more controlled. Alright, so the gun we want is downstairs. We want to get the penalty because the Slenderman about to come back. Alright. Got lives together. I need Jesus in your life. I spoke that nigga up. And I don't have time. Oh no, I have the right gun. No, I don't have the right gun. I do. Is this an LMG? Is this... Oh, it reloads kind of quick. Okay. Damn it, I meant to keep... I messed up. Max ammo, thank you. Because the other thing is coming and... this. To go here. Do this. You just walk through that? Yeah. Move, bitch. Oh, I got 2 bullets left in this gun. Our health. All right, let's go on an adventure. Okay, we know we're gonna need this. For sure. And then we're looking for this one. No, we're not looking for this one. Well, I have the other gun. So we should be good. Alright, bet. This is sock puppet time. Alright. They don't move if I'm looking at them. They're literally Toy Story. Literally Toy Story. I gotta look at which way they're coming from. Because I see they're trying to kill me and the door. Boogie's not having that. All of y'all can go. That's actually funny. I didn't do infinite sprint. I don't know what I just did. I did something to give me ammo, so I ain't gotta leave. Help me, fam. You don't need no. I play Apex out here and Call of Duty. Facts. Alright. 2 left. I got time to... Okay, I got the ammo. Let's see what's behind this door. Toolkit. A jelly bomb. Alright, that's the next gun we're gonna get. I see how all these guns work. Oh, hell no. This shit right now. I got a feeling big one gonna pull up at the steps. Open this. Get some room. Oh no! Whoa! 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 I don't need that. Where the table at? Where the table? 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 Hurry up! No! Revive me! Revive me! Go! 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 Yeah! Yeah! No. Oh! Go! Oh my gosh! Let's go! We are getting up out of here, fam. Oh man! I forgot what the other gun I said we was gonna get. Woo! Is that thing blind? Flying robot toys was not on my bingo card. It was not on my bingo card. Okay, let me tell you that right now. I'm telling you, I was saving that power up for when the time was right, okay? I know which time it was gonna be right, but I knew it was gonna be a time where it was gonna be right. Oh, y'all trying to put me in a corner. Get out here. I don't like things flying at me, fam. That gun just would not shoot just now. It would not just shoot. All right, let's open some doors. Yeah, boy. I blew myself up. Eugenie trotted. It said grab what you need, and I couldn't figure out what to grab. I couldn't remember nothing. I couldn't remember nothing. I've been fine, nice and pretty. Who do you think I am? Alright. We're gonna wrap this. I want to wrap this portion of the stream up. Again, do not leave, because what I'm going to do is going to be 2 streams. So I'm going to end this one because this will be going on to my YouTube channel. So, but I just want to make sure it's just this gameplay. So before I end it, if you guys would like to purchase this game, use the link that's pinned in the messages to be able to get it. Now, it's only available crossplay on PC, but it's also only available on Xbox and PC as well as single player. And yes, for those that do not have the newer version of Xbox, which is Xbox X or S, don't worry, don't fret, it is available for you guys as well. So thank you, Lin. But yeah, that game, that gun, I wasn't expecting to blow myself up. So again, thank you guys so much for this, and I will see y'all in like 2 minutes. All right, so again, stay in chat unless you don't pop up. We're going to play Apex. So, to the left.